so I messed up. Let me show you what happens when chaos gardening goes wrong. We're gonna look at what has happened in this garden bed and what I'm gonna do about it. Well, to boil it down to what happened is I got really busy and this got away on me. So let's talk about why this is so much worse than all the rest of it and what I'm gonna do about it. It's been a pretty crazy time of year with Christmas and New Year's and the holidays and summertime and everything going on. And this kinda got away on me. And I've been making a lot of chicken videos lately and less garden videos. So this kinda just slid down the list of things to get to. And here we are. It is totally crazy. It's completely out of control. And I need to sort it out, which I'm going to do today on camera to show you what's actually going on back here. But how this happened, how this got so much worse than every other one of my chaos garden beds is I went a little bit too hard on setting it up right. And if I had jumped in at the right moment, it would have been really, really good. But I didn't, and it turned into this. So this garden bed here, it gets the most sunlight of all of my garden beds I have in this area, which means I tried to give it some shade growing around these borders so that the plants I wanted to grow on the inside would have some shade. But then I didn't get it knocked back quickly enough, and yeah, it's got lots of shade, but it's kind of got not a lot of what I actually want to have in there. And another thing I did with this one is I emptied a worm bin into here, and that has made it very, 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 very happy, but a little bit of more work than I thought it was going to be for me to keep on top of it. All the rest of the garden beds here, there are 6 more that have been set up pretty much just like this. They're totally fine. It's just this one with that extra sunlight, the extra nutrients, and it's just gone whoosh. So we're gonna get stuck in, bring it back. I'm gonna show you some cool stuff I actually have in here. I've got some carrots going to carrot seed, which is awesome, and I'll show you when I actually find them in there. I just found some crazy radishes. So this is the biggest one I pulled out. And I knew I had left some radishes in there and I was going to leave them to go to seed. I was like, that's fine, that's cool. But but this one, he got quite away on me. Like that's like, look at that. That's crazy. So that is a little radish like you would harvest to have with your salad, and it's just gone. Whew, pretty crazy. And what I did discover about the radishes is that the birds like to eat the seed pods. So these little radish seed pods here, the ones that were growing outside of the net, the birds would come and gobble the seeds up from inside them. And that was pretty cool, but it did mean I didn't get any radish seeds. So it was time for this to come out because it wasn't really serving the purpose it needed to serve. And I thought you also might like to see my handy little knife here. So I just call these a flax cutter or a sickle knife. I'm not sure what their official name is, but they're really, really good. Just a little hand sickle knife. It's got a serrated edge. It's very sharp, so you want to be always making sure you know where the blade is cutting so you don't cut your fingers off. But they're fantastic for a chop and drop chaos garden system. You can just get in there and knock pretty much anything down. So what I've just found in the middle of all of that chaos is a chicory. And there's a few chicory in there. And I knew I'd planted chicory. I'd eaten some of it, but this is what chicory looks like when it's grown really big and gone to seed, which I did want it to seed a little bit, but maybe not as crazy as it has gone. Now, chicory is a really, really good one. The chickens love it. You can eat it, and cows like to eat it too. So what I'm actually going to do is save this chicory and save some of this lucerne, this alfalfa that I use as my border to feed to the cow. So that means some of the chaos is going to get salvaged to a good purpose. And I haven't removed the lucerne plants, I've just cut them back hard. So they will quite happily spring back to life and keep providing that border around the garden. I just need to be more on it with keeping the border controlled. Okay, now you can actually see what's going on in the garden, which right now, because I've stripped most of it out, isn't much. But what I have left out here is my carrot. Now, carrots to get seed, that's what's happening here. I'm getting carrot seed. Carrots need to be in the ground for 2 years to make seed. So the first year when you plant your seeds and have your carrots and harvest your carrots, they're not going to make carrot seeds that year. So what I've done is when I was stripping this out over the winter, I discovered a couple of carrots that I had missed. And they were nice and healthy and lovely looking, so I left them there. And I'm making my own, well, the garden is making carrot seed for me. And I'm pretty excited about that because carrot seed is something that needs to be really fresh. And you can often have not great luck with buying carrot seed because you just don't know how fresh it is. Carrot seeds are very particular and they don't last very long. So maybe only a year or two, whereas some other seeds could be good for several years, not carrots. So I'm excited to plant these seeds this autumn and hopefully get some awesome carrots that are a little bit more adapted to my little garden system here. Now that I've shared my failure with you, I'd like to show you a garden bed that's actually doing what it's supposed to do. So let's go and have a look at my garlic, strawberry, pepper, tomato bed. This garden bed is where I had my garlic over the winter. The plan was the garlic would be in here along with the little white alpine strawberries. I would harvest the garlic and then peppers and tomatoes would go in here. And that is exactly what happened. I harvested the garlic about a month, 6 weeks ago. I had some peppers and just ready to pop in their own little pots, just waiting for it to be ready for them. And in they went and they're looking pretty happy. Unfortunately, the weather turned from being like crazy, sunny, hot, intense to kind of rainy and not as hot. And peppers love hot weather, so they haven't loved the overcast, sort of drizzly weather we've been having, but they'll be okay. So I've got one pepper here, one pepper behind me. I've got some celery that I just left here because I mean, why not? It's going to make some seeds and then maybe then there'll just be celery here all the time. And then what we've got is just some greens that I have left. So these are from the winter time and they're still fine, which is quite astonishing. They've tried to seed lots of times. I've lopped the seed heads off and cleared it up and they just keep going. So I'm rolling with it. They can stay here so long as they don't dominate the space too much. So I have to knock them back a little bit because it makes great chicken food. And the little leaves are still fine for us to eat in salads if we want to. So it's just the gift that keeps on giving. What is growing in here, the kind of the chaos that's growing in here is mostly white clover that I use as a living cover. So this is a bed that's doing its job. I put some tomatoes in the back. They were sort of just like, I didn't have another spot for them. So I said, hey, you can come here. And they are very happy. I have just cleared the clover in this bed and they got a bit knocked around and I took some of their shade away, so they're just sulking about all the sunshine they've been getting this afternoon, but they're gonna be fine. So this is what it looks like when it works. When you have a plan and follow the plan, you get lots and lots of crops into one space. The ground is always covered, pest issues are not a big deal, everything works great. So stay on your plan and chaos gardening works really, really well. This is what I pulled out of that runaway garden bed. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's not all gonna go to waste. This will just get mashed back up and put back as fertility back into that garden bed. The chickens are gonna pick through it. The stuff that the cow will want to eat, I will take to her. So not a big loss. but it needed to be done. And what I'm going to do with that garden bed now, in the interests of making the problem the solution, I'm going to let the chickens hammer it, mash it up a bit, and then I'm just going to chuck some basil and some cilantro in there, and we'll just use that for the summer. And then it will be all ready to go to get the first winter crops in the garden at the end of the season. So it's kind of going to skip its summer season, but it's going to be roaring into the winter season, ready to go and easy to manage so long as I keep on top of this craziness again.